Welcome back, everybody, to Tiny Metal. We're going to go on the next mission. Nathan executes his landing operation, commanding an entire battalion to land. The Japanese defense forces on the mainland were far better equipped beyond any comparison than the units Nathan had countered before. Long last, we've deployed successfully in force on Japanese island to hunt down those invaders who bore the Tomoko crest. Japan is a mysterious nation. Intelligence is regretfully scarce, but we cannot pull out of our impending battle. If we take a step back now, we'll carry the same fear for the rest of our lives. To our rear, we have the backing of the Armesian support from our homeland. We also have the White Fang, who have proven the most valuable comrades at arms, willing to risk their lives with us. We are not alone. Now we are at the Japanese mainland. We must never let our guard down. All units go knowing that victory is with us. Yes, sir! Wolfram. Getting their blood running isn't going to help them on the battlefield. Keeping calm is what keeps you alive. I'm not sure if you heard me last time. We don't need any lectures from a mercenary. Oh really? I understand every detail of the operation, Nathan. And this is Japanese mainland. We don't know the lay of the land better than them. You know, almost next to no intel in the foreign land, so why don't you calm down a bit? My assessment and suggestion regarding our situation. That being said, the White Fangs are ready to mobilize any time. Be awaiting your orders. Do as you will. Yeah, thanks. Isolated island nation of Zapong. Just what kind of country is it? The Wolfram, for you and the White Fangs, what do you think is the cause of this confrontation? Commander, gunship at 12 o'clock. We make contact in a matter of moments. Have reinforcements arrived yet? Manly, a friendly fighter has entered local space. Great. Tell that fighter to take out the gunship. Ground units take over the facility and attack the enemy headquarters. Except for a few notable exceptions, attack from ground units will not be able to hit fighters. Fighters also make great recon units with their high vision range. Hooray! Here they are in the back. We'll use these guys to scout and the other ones to attack. Ooh, there's stuff over here. Basically that's all covered up. That's good. I don't care about that. Yep, do that, lock down, and then we'll bring in our scouts to hopefully finish this off. Yes, they're surface to air attackers. Good. Start capturing bases here. Gonna be a long mission, I can tell, because we don't have anything built at this. Well, let me revise that. I don't have anything captured at this point, so I'm gonna have to capture things as we go. And I'm pretty sure, based on that gunship we just fought, I'm gonna be running into the enemy, and they're going to have stuff that I'm gonna have to deal with. Initially gunships, and then probably tanks, and maybe even heavy tanks, medium tanks, whatever they're called. I know what they're called. They're called heavy metals, but when in terms of their what you call advanced wars counterpart, I don't know. Hooray! Not that I was expecting there to be anyone there, but nevertheless, it's always good when there's nobody there. So this is going to be an interesting start to a mission because, again, it requires me to capture the building. Just notice that it looks like the game gives me funds retroactively. So if I just captured that building and I gained 100 metal, money, coins, whatever. So that's good. I don't have to wait a whole turn to get my allowance if I take a base Yep. Alright, that does not get me any farther than I was hoping it would. Hoping for more vision. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. That does not... Oh, I just got critted. So, if I didn't mention it before, I took off the animations because the levels were taking long enough as it is without playing out the animations. So, in some cases, I have to guess as to what hit me there. So I have a pretty good idea it was a gunship. As that's probably the only thing in that area that could have come that quickly, that over, you know, and kill my guy in one hit. I need to remove this gunship from service, though. Thank you. Alright, we're gonna go find you, and we're going to punish you for what you did to my guy. Found you. Unfortunately, that means I'm gonna have to bring another infantryman down to take those buildings. So that's unfortunate. But what are you gonna do, right? This isn't too terrible so far. Yeah, I'd like you to go the way of the dodo, though. Okay, this isn't. I don't think this is going to be too bad. They gave me one. They gave me one base to operate from, but it looks like the enemy is to my right, so I won't have to worry about them coming from the left and the right side, so I can focus grouping up my troops and start heading them towards the upper right-hand corner here. Yeah, this map isn't as big as I thought. I thought this map was a little bigger than it is. So this will... I'll get rolling on this map here pretty quickly once we... we do need to still focus on the economy game, which is capturing bases. However, with the 3 airplanes that I have on the board, we're going to use those for a task they're probably not designed for, and that would be blocking, because they cannot hit ground units. But the ground units, except for that scout, probably can't hit me. So I'm pretty sure that only the scout and maybe some infantry can shoot at me. I'm not 100% sure on what works and doesn't work against flying units right now. However, I can, like I said, use the airplanes to help me block, while I send Mr. Infantryman down south to handle some other stuff. See, yeah, they block. So now they have to go up and around because they can't get over the plateau. And that'll give me some time to get my metal into order. Make sure I stay out of range of you. And then we'll be good. Hooray, hooray. Yeah, let's see here. Oop, there's base. There's a research laboratory base, whatever you call those things. So we're gonna start putting the clamps down. The clamps down on this. That's a soldier log. That's good. I need to start producing some mech units whatever they're called in this game now. I can tell it's been this is the first recording of this new playthrough or this new session, so I'm forgetting names of basic level stuff. Plan though is to. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. I'm going to be a little short here. I'm gonna end up. I was gonna say I'm gonna end up sacrificing something here. I'm gonna pull the. Yeah, scout would be good. Lancer would be excellent. You know, I mentioned in an earlier game or an earlier mission that one of the great and terrible things about playing a strategy game with Fog of War is you don't. It's more. It has more to do with this game and Advance Wars likes than it does other games. I don't know what's coming at me, but when you play an Advance Wars game or this game, for instance, and you have an idea of what's coming at you, you know, say turn 1, turn 2, in this case, turn 6, you can better prepare upon a second playthrough, which I guess that makes the game a little easier because you know it's coming. Whereas you're having a more authentic experience right now, not knowing what's coming and sort of trying to plan for everything. Knowing that if you plan too heavily around, you know, vehicles and they start throwing, you know, riflemen at you, you're going to be in trouble. And if you're going routinely with riflemen, while you have the advantage to in capturing, it's going to make this a lot harder. So, focus fire. Perfect. Well, mostly perfect. I want my riflemen to capture the building. As we start capturing airports, that's going to turn this. I wouldn't say the whole tide of the battle, but it's going to turn It's going to turn the battle from being tank heavy to battleship heavy. Which, if you watched either one of my Advanced Wars playthroughs, I'm sort of stuttering to say this, but I think everything should have a counter, you know what I mean? More or less, you know. So, like a rock, paper, scissors. So, you know, infantry, cheap, simple to make, along with mechanized units can capture. And you can spam out a lot of them really quickly, so you can use those to block lanes for very cheap, while saving up, you know, money for bigger units down the road. Now, downside with infantry, aside from them being very weak, is that they don't move very fast. They move either 2 if they're mechs, 3 if they're infantry units across most terrain. Exception would be mountainous terrain where mechs would still have 2 movement, and the infantrymen, I believe, would only get 1 on a mountain. But if they're coming off a mountain, then they would get, because it costs 2 for a mountain with an infantry. So you could move 1 and then into a mountain, like a plane into a mountain, or you go mountain into plains or forest or whatever. And, you know, obviously your mechs do a better job at taking down ships, or not ships, vehicles like tanks, anti-air units, etc. but you know the tanks, you know, they're mobile, but they can be taken out. Not wholly taken out, but they can be severely hampered by a unit that's much cheaper than it in the mech, or it can be overwhelmed by a more stronger unit, which is the medium tank. Can also get taken out pretty easily by artillery, rockets. I don't know. There's certain things that are great about Advance Wars that I feel that many of the Advance Wars, like clones, have not done a great job of mimicking. And in a way, that's, you know, you're trying to build your own system and balance it around what you think is you know, what will work, but balance is super hard. So much so that, like, even if you have a perfect, what you consider a perfect balance in the game, eventually the fan base is going to figure out, well, if you do X, Y, Z, you know, this will actually be more efficient than if you know, start producing a lot of, you know, air over sea, ground over air, that sort of stuff.
Sir, your orders?
Don't build missiles. No, you want to see this. Map of the entire island, Mount Fortress of Sangoku look to be troublesome. Is there some other route that'll lead us to Edo city center? Or intel reports there's a valley in the middle of the mountain Iga and Mount Koga. The Japanese army is using to move forward towards the capital. Might be a shortcut we were looking for. Alright then, let's make use of the candidate. Hooray. I like knocking the shit out of you guys. The game appears to be a lot less complicated than Advance Wars is, but in a way it's kind of better that way. Like, a good example would be, at least so far, we haven't really run into bombers yet. That would be interesting to see if they had bombers and how you balance around bombers, considering this game doesn't seem to have a fuel mechanic like they do in the Advance Wars series. So, I don't know. It would definitely be one thing, you know, you could easily help to balance an Advance Wars game around. You were having a little bit of trouble with a unit being too powerful. Just reduce its gas, you know, by 5 or 10 or whatever the number is that helps to balance out the unit, because if that unit is forced to refuel, then more often then it's not as useful in battle, or you have to end up producing APC units to refill the stuff. You know, you could easily just make tiny tweaks here and there, just with the fuel mechanic to help balance out an overpowered unit. Alright, we're gonna drop someone down here. Probably the scout, I think. Or we'll wait a turn to drop him, maybe. That'll work. Where's the bogey? I see there's another, great. Oh, he didn't see me, good. I was gonna say, bye-bye, little dude. I hardly knew ye. Yeah, I want to get rid of you. Need to go away. Alright. Taking it now. Or taking it down. Yeah, we need to work on capturing more buildings, though. Obviously, the rest of this mission is going to roll pretty quickly if I do. Of course, you know, the more buildings you end up capturing, the more this just becomes a one-sided fight. Which would also, that's also one of the things I think that Advance Wars would benefit from, is a couple different win conditions. Eliminate, you know, one would be eliminate all enemies on the field. One would be capture the enemy base. Those are common Advance Wars things. And then the third thing to sort of keep the player having to pay attention, you know, is properties. And you don't necessarily make it like, well, I have 51% of the properties. You know, the nation is still vast and our forces should be suffering from fatigue if only we had a shortcut. There are 3 railway posts nearby. FOB to the east advanced on the road to secure the base while pressing towards the base. These bases provide information about the island. Max alert. So what I was saying was, you know, you create a situation where, say, you have 2/3 of the buildings, okay? So, you know, in the case of, say, in the case of 9 buildings, that would be, you would have to have 6 of the 9 buildings in order to achieve that level of victory, which I think would be, depending on how big the map is and how many properties there are, I think that would be fair. Because I'm sort of imagining a map like this where there's, I don't know, how many properties? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, roughly 20, we'll say roughly 20 properties. If you want to count the, you know, the little radar bases and research facilities that you just investigate, you really don't have to capture down. So that would mean you would need 12, there are roughly 13 properties. That's right, is that right? Yep. 20. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is nothing that you haven't already seen in this playthrough so far. Minus the losing my infantryman early down here and delaying me capturing these bases, and this whole top left area going uncaptured still. If I had another base, like one more facility to make stuff, that whole top left area would have already been captured. Yes, riflemen. Need to continue to produce them. They don't move very fast, and it's going to take me a while to get up there. Start capturing those things. But yeah, we're going to try to put like an airplane or something on top of the airport up here to prevent them from continuing to produce more gunship units. Not that it really matters, because I've got 3 airplanes that are going to take care of them pretty quickly, but because one of the goals in this game is to eliminate all the enemies or capture enemies HQ, I think that's, you know, having less enemies on the board makes it easier.